We had a really complicated situation. Some years ago, we had a war on drugs policy here in Mexico. So after that, there were a lot of torture survivors that needed rehabilitation services, but also needed to document some torture, to document torture inside prisons. But also some torture survivors were freed, but they needed psychosocial support. Right now, there has been a little bit more of openness to say that torture exists in Mexico. So my name is Cristian Urbalejo Luna. I am the general coordinator of CCTI, which is Collective Against Torture and Impunity. We mainly document torture in Mexico, and we provide rehabilitation services. But we also give psychosocial support to families that have a forced disappeared family member. And we do some advocacy work, especially related with indicators and rehabilitation processes in Mexico. There have been some efforts to try to implement and some policies related with rehabilitation services in Mexico. Specifically, we have a law was built, the General Law Against Torture in Mexico, which tries to give legal support for torture victims. But it also opens the possibility for independent experts to document torture. In the past, this was not possible because only official experts could document torture based on the Istanbul Protocol, but right now it's possible. And there's also, we have some institutions, Executive Committee for Victims Attention, that is trying to provide support for torture victims. We've been trying to train independent experts in Mexico so that they can document torture independently. IRCT support has been very important in this process, especially the last workshop that we had related with the Istanbul Protocol update, because we think that it's very important for independent experts here in Mexico to be updated about torture documentation to comply with the minimal standards of torture documentation. So we try to have or to provide the best tools to independent experts so that they can have scientific evidence and support in their reports, so that the judges or the public ministries don't have an excuse to disqualify these kind of reports. It was also very important because some of the concerns that we had with the implementation of the Istanbul Protocol are now being taken into consideration in this new update. For example, the LGBTI community specifications for documenting torture, and also the context and culture-based documentations for the different instruments or the different tests that psychologists implement when they are documenting torture. It was very important for us because, for example, in Mexico, we still have a large percentage of indigenous people. So these kind of cultural characteristics were included in the Istanbul Protocol updates. So that was really relevant for us. And also, since the war on drugs policy that was implemented here in Mexico, a lot of children were also affected as indirect victims. So we were very glad to know that this was also added as a section in the Istanbul Protocol, because a lot of our colleagues, when they provide rehabilitation services, they try to do it in a holistic way. So that means that they also try to work with family members and especially with children. And documenting the impacts that torture has on children was also very important for us in this workshop. So unfortunately, in Mexico, we don't have any accountability mechanism related with torture documentation. The only accountability mechanism that we've had is to evaluate official reports. And that's been quite a challenge, because the official experts reports that try to hide that torture is something that is still happening here in Mexico. We can tell the government or official experts that this document doesn't hold up to the minimal standards that the Istanbul Protocol is trying to establish, and say our report has scientific evidence, is supported by international standards. So our report should also be taken into consideration, and the official report should not be taken into consideration because it doesn't take into consideration the minimal standards for torture documentation.